All right, and we should finally be live. I would like to welcome everybody out in YouTube there watching us. I'm here with Harold Owens. Say hi, Harold. Hey,
Hi.
awesome. Yeah, I just want to start off by thanking Harold for taking the time out tonight and talking to us. I think this is going to be pretty darn awesome. I'm extremely excited about your new yo-yo, the Too Hot.
So am I.
Yeah, I mean,
Looking for mine. It should be on my hip. I don't know where I put it. Where is it? No, not this one. Shoot. It's always on me.
we'll give you a minute.
Oh, I just like changed the string on that thing.
Yeah.
Pockets, is it? Oh. Fell down. Yeah, I got mine too. I got mine too.
That's Too Hot. We're ready to go. So I wanted to kind of get things started because, to be honest, I don't know how you got started in yo-yoing, and I think it's a question that is always kind of interesting to start with. So, like, what got you started? Like, where did you learn, or how did you learn?
Well, for people who don't know, I'm from Indiana originally. So my first introduction to the whole yo-yo culture was in back home in Indiana during middle school. I think 8th grade I started yo-yoing with a friend of mine, Mitch Ginder. Some people know he's still in the yo-yo scene, but more into photography and film. But if you see some of my earliest videos, it was just Mitch and I yo-yoing together. So he was who taught me how to yo-yo.
Where can we find those videos? Actually, we should take a look and post those.
Let's see. I haven't seen them in years.
Are they on YouTube?
Yeah, they'd be on YouTube for sure. Unless he took them down, I doubt it.
What year was this?
Probably 2009.
Okay. Wow. Crazy, man. I've been yo-yoing since like 2000, so 2009.
Yeah, I think here I'm looking them up. If you just type Mitch Ginder.
Okay, Mitch Ginder. Okay.
On YouTube.
Yep.
You should see one video of mine.
All right. Why don't you afterwards? You can give me a title. I'll post a bunch on our blog and on the forum.
All right.
Like that.
Yeah, put me out there. The old Harold Owens.
Anyway,
it's weird watching myself yo-yo sometimes.
Yeah, right. So anyways, so it was 2009. That's when the videos were popping up, or that's when you first started?
That's when I first started making videos.
Okay.
But I've been yo-yoing since about 06. And it was only like, it took me so long to realize that there were competitions for this, like I didn't even know. I was just yo-yoing with Mitch in homeroom, like study hall. And then Takeshi Kamisato actually got in touch with me and told me, hey, there's a club, they've got contests for this, you should come by sometime. So I started going to the yo-yo club every Saturday in Indianapolis downtown.
Ah, okay. So like Takeshi was actually a big
Yes,
club,
for sure.
right? That was all.
He's my yo-yo father for sure.
Wow.
Like, Mitch is my yo-yo brother.
We have Mitch to thank for you, Harold, to a certain extent. Awesome.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. So from there you started kind of competing. Obviously, got into it. Like, what was your first big contest? I guess then, or I guess you must have had a big win at some point that got you on the map.
Yeah, well, my first contest was Indiana State 2010. I think. That was my first yo-yo contest ever, and I did decent. I don't even know if the video's up, honestly. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Okay. We'll have to find that one too.
The first time,
I
think I got 15th place. It's a state contest, so there's not really too many people, so it wasn't too great. But for me, I was so excited. It was my first contest. I hadn't known.
I think there's something really cool about that because, like, 2009, that's 5 years ago. But from 2009 to now, and I mean, you won nationals.
2 years after.
So, like, 3 years, you went from 15th in a state contest to winning the national yo-yo contest. Like, that's amazing. It
was fast for me, even, like.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a really cool message for, like, lots of the kids watching us here. It's like.
Yeah, I hope.
you can really, it's amazing what you can pull off and accomplish with.
Because I know when I was first entering into the whole yo-yo culture, like everyone had their perception of pros, like they were just always amazing, you know, like, and you never really think of the times when they were just, you know, 15th in Indiana,
right,
not really doing much. But everyone's at that point at some point in their career as a yo-yoer.
Awesome, absolutely. Okay, so you got 15th that year, and then from there, like, what you said you had a big win though, right? At some point.
Yeah, definitely. The next contest was not until a year later at the same Indiana State in 2010. It was when I won my first contest.
15th, and then you won Indy States.
Yeah, 1 year. I didn't go to anything between the first Indiana States and the second one I went to, but the second one I went to, I got first, and I beat the first professional I'd ever met, who happened to be on YoYoFactory at the time and still is Chris Frazier, one of my main inspirations.
Chris Frazier's amazing.
Early on, and he's the one who kind of just would wreck that contest like every year.
Oh,
he showed up. It was kind of default Chris's contest.
He was a fast player, like technically fast, everything. He was hard to catch up with in terms of points. So that's awesome. Okay. So from there, I guess, like, you know, you got recognized first place. You obviously had the talent and skill to back it up. I mean, I even remember seeing that video and being like, man, this guy is good. So, like, from there, when did YoYoFactory come into things? When did you join up to meet the team?
YoYoFactory, like, after that one state win in Indiana, I went kind of on a state spree around the area, you know, because by that point my parents had realized it wasn't a fad. You know, I'd been doing it for 2 years, like at least semi-competitively. So my dad started driving me to contests. So after that, I went to Missouri State, the Moyo 2011.
Yep.
And I won that one, and then I went to Minnesota State and won that. Then I went to Ohio, and I won that.
Wow,
great. So I just kind of branched out state-wise from there.
Nice.
And it was just really a bunch of state wins that finally, I guess, got them to notice.
Nice. And then, so, like, what do you remember? What year it was, or like when?
Yeah, that was all the year 2011, like up to winning nationals.
Okay, cool. Wow. And was YoYoFactory like always where you wanted to be, or like was it, you know, or did you ever think you'd be able to join that team, or like, you know, or were you
really no, I didn't at the time, because, you know, I started yo-yoing, I mean, relative to a lot of players I know, so late.
Yeah.
That by the time I got into it, really the first cool yo-yo video I ever watched was Yuki's Worlds 2007.
Right.
So YoYoFactory was like the first company I knew was a company.
Yes.
So from that point on, I was like, wow, they're really cool. So I was just watching a lot of things like Tyler Severance and Yuki and Ando even at the time, like really good players. So
totally.
But I really didn't think I was in that league. So I was really up for anything, whoever came to me.
Yep. Nice. Well, I mean, it's obviously been a really good match, I think, overall. Like, I assume, like, it's been a good experience being on team and everything like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So kind of let's start getting to, I think, what everyone's very interested about, and that's the Too H.O.T.
Right.
I wanted to start with maybe talking more about the original H.O.T. first and how that kind of came out.
Original. I'll put original up there.
Oh, we got the original. Nice.
Yeah, I got the original next to me too.
Yeah. So, I mean, can you tell us a little bit about like the whole process, like how, you know, did you design it? Did YoYoFactory design it? Like, how did it all come together?
All right. I don't know if this is infringement of anything. I doubt it, but no, we're all honest here. The way the yo-yos get made kind of follow one of two
Sure.
routes. Either there's already like a cool stock shape that just kind of just lying around in the computers that no one's picked up.
Yep.
Or you actually build it bottom up.
Right. Well, I think when you say stock shape too, like I know YoYoFactory is always like designing. They're always trying to make
and we have so many shapes.
Right. A stock shape's probably like something that they've done previously.
Yeah.
Like this is pretty cool. We're gonna save it for somebody.
Yeah, that's how it is, and we've got a lot just lying really on Ben's computer that he's designed over the time that no one's come through and like either like really liked or they haven't had a chance to make.
Right.
But with the hot, it was actually the second option. It was bottoms up. Like
nice. Okay, so this was all you.
We went in knowing what I wanted, because if you know, when I won nationals, it was with the Catalyst, and that was my favorite throw.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up because the Catalyst has like some similar dimensions in terms
of definitely. And that was kind of the starting point. I told him that I wanted to have a wider Catalyst. That was kind of the the starting point for design wise. So I really liked the contour of Catalyst. It was so smooth and it fit my hand so well, but it was so narrow. Like even now, like when I pick up the Catalyst still sometimes, it's like, wow, how did I win Nats with this? Like, it's an amazing yo-yo, and I play it all the time. I still have a Catalyst in my main case. It only holds 15. 10 of those slots are hot, but one of them is a Catalyst.
Has to be. That's right.
I still love them.
All right. So, okay, so going back to it, this was your design, though. So, like, this is ground up. So, like, where do you start? Did you say, like, I want something? Because, I mean, when I look at the hot, I see, okay, like, it's a really comfortable shape. It's kind of rounded out. It's definitely got like the way that the gap tapers is obviously kind of like the more modern current way to do a gap. So like tell us a little bit about like where was your focus? Where was your inspiration for the shape?
Well, for the first one, as I said, we wanted a wider hot. I mean, not a wider hot, a wider Catalyst, because I like that shape so much.
Gotcha.
So we tried our best to keep the like leading edge right here.
Right.
Very similar to the Catalyst. If you do compare it, that side is almost the same contour shape-wise, but it's just this inner part in the middle is like a wide step, and that's just to push out everything and give me a little bit more gap.
Yeah.
Because a lot of my tricks, especially around the time we were making that, were so hard even for me to land, and I made them, and it was just on some yo-yos just implausible almost to do certain routines.
I mean, I know this when I look at it too. I think with a Catalyst, one of the things with a Catalyst, and I don't actually have one here to show, but with a Catalyst, like it was very distributed in terms of the shape, like it was one line up. And I think with the hot, you really immediately pushing it out here gives you so much more rim weight.
Yeah.
And I definitely you get that sense when you throw this. Like the Catalyst was more of a flowy, very smooth yo-yo, and when you throw the hot, you can really feel it. It's got a lot of momentum to its spin.
And that was definitely another point we were trying to sell, is we wanted as much spin time as possible, because that was and still is really one of my signature things is like just crazy long combos, and I always enjoy doing that. But I can't do it on just any yo-yo. So things that have that rim weight are a lot more compatible with some of the freestyles I try to make.
Awesome. And then it's funny, I'm just going to point this out. I mean, I'm assuming everyone kind of knows it, but I'm curious like how the name came about, because it's pretty clever. Let's face it. I mean, again, I'm not sure if everyone has picked up on this.
Some people haven't. You'd be surprised.
I know, right?
Very surprised.
But the H.O.T. Harold Owens III. So was that?
It's an initialism.
Yeah, love it.
Some people were just like, like they're so baffled when I go to some contest and explain it to them. They're like, oh, really? But in their defense, I didn't even know my initials could be that until around the time we made this.
Nice.
I was always under the impression that it was Ho, so just keep it on the down low, you know?
Right.
No, it stands for Harold Owens III, you know? So forget the, or else it'd be the H.O.T.
Love it.
No, yeah, it's just Ben's really good with coming up with really good names
Yeah,
for
yeah. And
yo-yos.
Ben's Ben McPhee, in case anyone doesn't know.
Yeah, Ben McPhee, YoYoFactory manager, but um, it was kind of just a general consensus between both of us. So it was just a really cool name,
Nice. Yeah.
and it fit the
When
name.
when it came out, it hits you. It's like this was really clever. Harold Owens the
Yeah.
third. It's hot. So and like the actual logo that they made with the 3 and your signature over it is just
Yeah,
so awesome.
that was one of my favorite aspects because even though I played a big part in the design,
Yeah.
the logo was
Yeah. I don't
pretty
know.
much all me. Like
Show.
not the H.O.T part, but the signature up top
Yeah.
is
It's
how I used to
kinda hard
sign
to
my
see.
name.
Yeah.
There it is.
Well,
Yeah, with the Roman numerals.
right. Right. We'll if you look on our site, it's posted up on the other hot page on his graphic there. So cool. This is really interesting. I mean, it's really cool to hear like how a yo-yo comes from nothing to what it is and like what it means to you. And moving on, I mean, we've got the Too H.O.T now, and I'll just start this out by saying, we were sent some prototypes in Seattle,
Yeah.
and first off, when someone said this is a prototype, it was like, what? Like, this is it. This is awesome. And we brought some prototypes to sell at California, and they sold out. And I think everyone who picked one up was just kind of dumbfounded with how well this thing plays. And as everyone's finding out, it's close to half the price of the original H.O.T. So crazy. I mean, I don't know if I would necessarily say that the play is improved, but it's different. And I get the sense that maybe it's also kind of moving as maybe you're moving in a different style of tricks or trying to do something different in freestyle. I'm not sure. But tell us a little bit about the Too H.O.T. I mean, what's
All right. Before you get into the details, funny side story about the name for that one.
Okay.
Is actually I was staying at Gentry's house.
Okay, Gentry Stein. Yep.
Yeah, Gentry Stein on the contest team, current national champion, and one of my main friends, best friends on the team. I was at his house. I forget when, but right before we were practicing for Worlds together. So some couple months before Worlds over the summer.
Yep.
And just hanging out with his dad. He's a really funny guy, and it was actually Mr. Stein who jokingly was just. He came up with that name, the Too H.O.T. The next one should be Too H.O.T. I was like, at the time I was like, oh, you silly dad, you know. But it kind of stuck with me.
Yeah. Did you actually have the yo-yo at the time, the Too H.O.T, like the second?
No. It was kind of just words.
Right. Okay.
Floating around the office,
This was a total joke. Like this
it was literally just he was just being funny, just
right.
Mr. Stein. But like. Thinking on it a little long, I was like, oh, that's really clever. I even told Gentry, he's like, yeah, that'd be good.
Nice.
So I just kept that name with me, and
it
actually
worked,
turned out well.
Too H.O.T. So.
Yeah, Too H.O.T. So it's like, the second hot, but also Too H.O.T. So.
Nice. Okay, so let's kind of jump back to like, tell us a little bit about what, I mean, obviously, like when I look at the two of them here, I'll just kind of hold up one against the other. You've got yours too, but maybe you can kind of talk to us a little bit about what's changed, because there's obviously some significant changes here. Yeah, so go ahead.
All right, so the main thing people will notice is the width. The Too H.O.T. is not nearly as wide as the original H.O.T. And on forums there were two major complaints. Sure. Even though the H.O.T. did very well and a lot of people loved it. The ones who either didn't love it or had some criticism said almost always the same two things, that it's too wide and too sharp.
Okay.
So those are the two problems we had in mind going into the second one, is we wanted to make it fit, the general yo-yo population's hand a little bit better, even though it was perfect for me, the original, as I wanted that wide feel.
Right.
But to be more on the page of like Genesis and Supernova dimensions.
Yeah. Okay.
We wanted to scale it down a bit.
Sure.
But keep that unique rounded feel with the weight pushed out. and even the double rim. If people, I mean, most people have noticed, but the original Hot has this like double-edged wall here that was for palm grind binds, which is kind of one of
Oh,
my favorite tricks to do at the time. And
interesting. So the actual double ridge there with the gap is to reduce the friction for the
yeah,
palm grinds.
yeah, it was there to make it so it would palm grind a lot better because it's
That
just
is so interesting.
two rails instead. But you'll notice even then for the Too Hot, the second one now,
Yep.
we have that rim, but it's kind of a relic now at this point. It's a lot less deep. It's a
Okay.
little shallow, but you can still see the influence from the original one.
So does that speak to like is that trick out? Like
No, no, no. I still come up with cool variations of it.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, because I still remember seeing you pull that off for the first time, and like it was the smoothest palm grind I've ever seen. Like, I mean, you
yeah,
still kill it. You do it better than anyone does it. So
yeah, no, and it still brings a little glow to my heart when I see people do it in videos, like even contest videos. Recently, you still see people do cool variations of the trick, and I'm like, wow, it's an honor really that I had anything to do with that, if
nice.
anything. So, but no, it's not out. I actually am still practicing 3 minutes and 2 minutes, and
Yep.
I'll have that, optionally as a banger or different variations. I have lots of different
Awesome.
big tricks, I call them, just 4 or 5 to pick out of to
Yep.
throw. So
Awesome.
it's still there.
Nice. Okay. So I guess from there, like compared to the original Hot, would you say that this is better for some things versus others? Like I know you were saying like obviously the original Hot's wider, and I know when a lot of people are looking for like their first metal yo-yo, sometimes it's actually better. A lot of times we'll recommend a wide yo-yo because it makes it a
Yeah.
lot easier to land on the string. So the Too Hot almost tells me like it's a little thinner, which makes it maybe even a little bit easier or a little bit better for technical string tricks for like the more advanced players. So I'm almost feeling like this is even more advanced, like a real freestyle yo-yo.
It
But clue me in. I mean, like when you look at the two of them, do you see them different things, or do you actually see just straight up improvement?
No, I see two different things. The first one, the Hot, was wide for the original purpose of just landing some of the tricks that I would do like a year or two ago that were just really hard, even for me to do, and I wanted that extra width to be a little
Well,
more sure.
it's interesting you bring that up, actually. I was thinking as I was looking at the yo-yos right before we were talking about how much has changed in yo-yo design in a very short period of time. Because when I was yo-yoing or actively competing a lot, undersized was king. I mean, like the Hitman was out, and then when the 888 came out, that was
Yeah,
kind of it. Everybody was throwing undersized yo-yos from the 888 on. And it actually didn't change until Ando won Worlds in '08, and just like kind of changed perception on the whole thing. And ever since then, it's all been about wide yo-yos, which I mean makes a lot of sense, especially like what you're saying in freestyle play. When you're
yeah,
working on like really new, different technical tricks, the width can make an absolutely huge difference. So it's interesting you bring that up because I hadn't actually thought about that aspect of things until I actually was really looking at the width on the Hot being so
yeah.
wide.
It's very very connected to the style of play that you're trying to go for,
Yep.
and with the Too Hot being a little narrower, even I wouldn't call it undersized, but normal size, I guess you could
Right.
say, is catered towards more technical tricks now. Maybe not those big out there tricks
Yep. Yep.
that maybe need a little bit more gap to land more often,
Right.
but more focused on tech because that's really, believe it or not, I can't believe it really thinking about it, but tech was like not my best thing when I
Sure.
when I first started yo-yoing.
Yep.
I struggled with ladder escape for months, really. Like
Oh no.
I wasn't that great at the whole string manipulation concept. I really liked the idea of just doing huge motions and throwing it everywhere.
Yep.
But I'm trying to really refine my trick base just in terms of being able to do like really impressive, intricate tech style tricks, and it helps to have a little smaller yo-yo than the original, to be able to fit in smaller gaps and just navigate a little bit faster even. You know, the speed is also a factor that I'm trying to go for.
Awesome.
Is that's always been a criticism of mine that I take not personally but to heart for sure. That's how you improve. You need to take advice from as many people as you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting when I watch you throw. Actually, I've always considered you one of the most precise yo-yo players I've ever seen. So like when you do tricks, like everything is with such precision. Like there's no like, because you watch some people and like they'll hit something, or they'll go in and out of a trick, and it was just like, did they mean to do that? But
yeah.
Move you do is with a precision that is pretty unmatched on stage. Like it's pretty insane. So like with speed, you know, it's funny because I've always thought I used it really precise. So now adding speed onto that's going to make it even more interesting.
Yeah, I'm not trying to, you know, change nationalities or anything. You know, I still want to stick with the kind of general U.S. feel.
Sure.
I've been watching a lot of international players and just you know, trying to get on at least some sort of match level in terms of the speed that some other countries have.
Yeah.
Especially with off-axis play, the sideways stuff is not my strength.
Yep.
But if I were to compare myself to, you know, Harold a year ago, I'm a lot better at the speed and off-axis and just really branching out in terms of the tech that I do.
Nice. All right, cool. So I think we've covered a lot of the main differences, which were actually a lot of the questions that were popping up already. But I want to jump over and maybe kind of answer some questions that are popping up on the side here.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Popping up on YouTube, as well as the forums and stuff. So I'm just going to shoot some questions at you, and we'll do that for a bit. And then I'm thinking after that, maybe you can show us like a few new tricks.
All right, yeah, I'll be down. See how consistent I could be on a video that's live.
I know for people watching it, the frame rate might not be amazing, but YouTube records this, and it will be available to watch like after the fact, and the frame rate improves an incredible amount from there. All right, so let's like kind of start with some questions on YouTube here. I think we've already answered this one. Is the Too H.O.T aimed towards intermediate to advanced or built for experts? What would you say to that?
I would say it's aimed at experts and intermediate players.
So kind of
it can still work for any skill range.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not as easy to play as the original H.O.T.
Right. I mean, you brought the width in, but it's pretty. You know, the width drop is not going to make it so like an intermediate player can't hit this on the string or anything.
No, definitely not.
Yep.
It's such a small change that really you would only notice at those really high levels of play.
Sure. Someone wanted to know if you're going to do a gold one.
Oh.
Because I mean, the original colorway for the H.O.T was gold, and it was like an awesome gold. So we're kind of thinking gold's your thing, but.
Well, I don't really want to say in terms of colorway. I will say that.
How much of a say? Sorry, how much of a say do you end up having in colors and stuff? Can you request?
Actually, color? I would say we can say in terms of colorway, it's kind of a 50-50 thing.
Sure.
You put in your suggestions for sure, especially about base color. What you have less control of are the variations in terms of splash and splatter effects. Those are kind of up to just aesthetics, you know, whatever they think will be the best. But base color-wise, like I chose gold because, you know, it's kind of first place symbol.
Nice.
And the original Catalyst, my first colorway, blue and gold, those are my high school colors. If people don't know, I went to Carmel High School. It's the blue and gold and Greyhounds. So that's why there was a blue one and a gold one. And I just tried to translate it. But my color preference is bright.
Bright, yeah, something that'll stick out on a stage.
Yeah, because I wear you know, usually dark clothes, especially on stage. to contrast with the yellow. You know, you want it to stick out like that.
Oh, yeah.
So I usually don't prefer like a dark yo-yo. It needs to have some color to it, like pink, blue, red, especially gold. That was great.
Okay. Someone else is asking here, would you say it's solid or floaty, the new Too Hot? I have a pretty strong opinion on this, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
Okay. Well, I would say that it's a really interesting hybrid of the both. I don't feel like it plays just like a hunk of metal, like a really solid play.
Yeah.
And it's not just like bouncing all over the string really smooth. You can feel where it is all the time. But at the same time, it's so much faster to me when I'm trying to improve my speed, my style of play. So I would put it more on the solid end of the spectrum, but with like the perfect mix of being just a little floaty.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say that I think one of the first things that struck me when I threw it was that added stability. So, like, the original Hot was definitely more of a floaty, and actually, like, when you say the Catalyst was your favorite, I very much got that it was a Catalyst with some added rim weight. So it was Catalyst really floaty, but with a punch. And I feel like the Too Hot kind of further focuses the rim weight, makes it even a little bit more solid, a little bit more stable. Maybe not quite as floaty, but I think you're right. It definitely kind of balances between both really well. So it's like an all-around really solid, especially for freestyle, all-around really solid freestyle yo-yo. Someone else was asking, like, which one's the demonstration yo-yo versus which one's like a freestyle yo-yo. And I'm really feeling like the Too Hot is like built freestyle driven. But is that what you would say?
I would say exactly the same thing. It's really catered at this point in my yo-yo career, just nationals and worlds freestyles. That's really what I have in mind. Not necessarily just, yo-yoing anywhere, anytime, but in a really competitive stage when you're trying to make the best freestyle you can and do it well and do it precisely. That's the inspiration for the shape, the design, everything.
Nice. All right. I'm going to look for some more questions, but why don't you show us some tricks?
All right.
What are you working on? Are you working on some new stuff for freestyle? Or?
Yeah, definitely. I'll try to pull out some new stuff just to appease the folks. Let me see if I can get this set up so you can see me all right. It's got to be the right angle. Let's see. No. They didn't fix my light, by the way. I'm in my friend's dorm room right now.
If anyone else is wondering, we did like a test run last night with Harold, and Harold's in his dorm room at college, and his light blew out literally just before we were going live, and it was completely dark. So he ended up being in his friend's room tonight for us. So all right, let's see some tricks.
All right, let's see what I could do.
So this is the Too Hot.
Yeah, this is Too Hot for sure. The same prototypes you'll be getting.
Nice.
I've been playing it non-stop for about 4 months now. So I've gotten pretty used to it.
Awesome. So smooth.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite tech combos at the moment.
Nice.
But you can branch it out and get away from the tech, do some off-axis, for sure.
Nice, yeah. This one was in your clip video that we just posted this morning.
Yeah.
Awesome. Look at that. Hitting it with ease, even under pressure. Love it.
Yeah, it just feels like a demo. But that was always one thing that really struck me when I was first meeting some of the pro players, especially Chris.
Yeah.
They're so consistent. And
Sure.
You have to be like that, really.
Actually, it's funny because that was a question I was going to ask you before too. Is like how much goes into like how much practice do you put into all of this? You know, like kind of
Yeah.
practice on a daily basis now, or
Well, like you said, I'm in college right now, so it takes a lot of time management to be able to do as much yo-yoing as you feel you need to do.
yep,
But it's definitely plausible. Like on average, I'll practice 2 hours a day, maybe three on a weekend.
nice,
But you need to. It's definitely not as much as I would practice like in high school when I
sure,
was first getting into the competition scene. It was sometimes 5, 6 hours a day, but you
yep,
don't have that luxury as I guess as an adult. I would call myself now.
nice, yeah, yeah. I
It's
hear you.
still quite a bit for sure.
Yeah, no, you can always balance it. Awesome.
But the play for this is once I got really used to it, it's just perfect to me. Like
Yeah.
the speed that I can
Well,
go
that's like
per
one of the
day.
biggest differences I noticed too is the speed. Like you were talking before, I can really see a speed increase. Like if you go back and watch some of your older freestyles, uh, you're going a lot faster. Like you really, oh, so smooth.
Yeah, I'm gonna think of some. Some this is actually new, like 2 days old, so I might
Oh,
mess this one up
let's
on
see it.
stage. This is say, what is it here? Just a little arm
Oh,
trick.
sick. Yeah. Oh man.
There we go.
Too good. Nice.
Yeah, surprised I landed that on camera.
Too hot.
Here,
How,
I've got a cool one
yeah, one more trick. One more trick.
off the axis
Okay.
that was under my legs. I'm gonna try to get it at like lower body level if
Yeah,
I
cool.
can.
Hit one more trick and then we'll tie things up with the chat and stuff.
All right.
Nice. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Sick. That's
Uh,
awesome. Thank you so
that's
much for
that's too
taking time to
hot
do
for
that.
you for
That is too
sure.
hot. Right there. Cool. So actually, yeah, hold that up if you can again, because that's the color we're releasing tonight, which is it's a gray with a purple splash.
Yeah.
This is the prototype run. Um, it's funny because it's a larger run for prototypes, and it's what a lot of people were asking us because I think when they hear the word prototype, a lot of times think like 2 or 3 yo-yos. But YoYoFactory, wrote a pretty direct explanation to us, explaining that it's not quite, they're still tweaking things. It's still not quite perfect.
Yeah.
But they had this run that is pretty darn perfect and close to what they want, and that they wanted to kind of get it out there and start getting a reaction and see what people think. So
Right.
that's why it's got the prototype stamp on it. So a few more quick questions.
All right.
People are wondering what string do you use? Do you use like any
Uh,
specific?
yeah. Usually on stage, the first strings that I really got hooked on were just yellow Type 6 polys.
Yep.
Um,
So just standard
that's
polyester.
pretty standard for a lot of competition for many people who compete. But lately, when I've been practicing, I've been trying to go for a kind of softer string, I guess, because
Okay.
I've been practicing so much, and it'll the like competition string I use is pretty coarse, but I like that on stage. But it's not so great for just practicing for 2 hours straight, at least for me. So I've
Right.
been playing a kitty string a lot. I'm just not forget what type it is, but it just seems a little softer to me.
Yeah.
I
Sure.
like that it's extra long. You can cut it, so I've been playing a little bit longer string too. So on
Nice.
stage, it's just the Type 6, and then usually when I practice, I use kitty string, either black or this like pink color that Tyler Severance gave me.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. All right. Uh, a lot of people want to know, did you have any like influential players or players who
Ah,
inspired your tricks? I think a lot.
yeah,
I mean, it's interesting. Like when I started, man, there was a ton. But I think Yuki Spencer is one that always pops up as like kind of a big name. He was definitely for me. But it's funny. I learned directly from so many of them because it was like before YouTube came out. But I imagine there were a lot of people you were watching all the time that really inspired you.
Yeah, like I'd said earlier, I only got into this scene like around the time that Yuki won Worlds.
Right.
So of course he was one of the main influences, but at the time he was so far beyond whatever level I was at the moment.
Yep.
So I really didn't learn much from just watching him, other than that I could be like 100 times better. But in terms of influential players in my earlier career, was mainly, like I said, Indiana State. Chris Frazier was the main one who showed up a lot, and he was the first professional I ever met.
Nice.
So on the few occasions that I worked up the courage to talk to him for a few minutes, learn a couple tricks, his whole style of the body wraps, that was new to me.
Yep.
And so a lot of my early tricks were, arm tricks, leg tricks. You notice some of my earlier things were kind of body wrap inspired tricks. So Chris was my first major influence for sure.
Nice.
And after the first couple years, I really started getting into Augie Fash.
Yep.
He's such a nice guy. If you haven't met him in person, you need to get a coffee from him or something, because he's a gentle mid-sized giant. One of my favorite people. But I learned a lot from him, and it even translated to the yo-yo I used at nationals. It's just
nice. Sure.
One of my favorite people. So yeah, mainly Chris, Augie.
Nice.
And the main ones, the more obvious ones for most people, is like Yuki and Jensen.
Yep.
In terms of the competition scene, what do I need to do on stage?
Right.
Him, and we'll figure it out pretty fast.
Awesome. That's great. A lot of people want to know, is there going to be, can we expect like any big differences, because we're calling this one a prototype, like we were saying before. You're going to have to make some tweaks. Everyone wants to know, like, are you anticipating there's going to be some big tweaks, or is this really minor things? Like, is it going to be a big visual difference, you think, or maybe you're not sure?
No. I'm from my understanding of the process so far, we're almost exactly where we want to be in terms of design. So whatever changes we make are going to be
almost unnoticeable. Or?
Yes, but and it'll only be noticeable on a production scale. In terms of how many of the batch come out nearly perfect.
Right. Okay. Because like when they do a run, I'm imagining you probably kind of go through a run, and it's probably a vibration thing, or probably not more than anything else, I guess.
Yeah, it'll be vibe. It'll be.
Yeah. That's one of the other things I think when you throw this is it's like dead perfect smooth. So I imagine they probably went through every one. I don't know. But these things are dead perfectly smooth, so
they're pretty glassy.
And with this much weight to it too, do you actually? That's one other question that popped up a couple times too. Is do you happen to know the weight difference between this and the original Hot? Is it about the same? I can go look at the stats in a minute, but I wasn't.
Yeah, if I remember right, it's about a gram or a gram and a half lighter, I think. Maybe.
The Too Hot is? Yeah.
Yeah, the Too Hot. I want to say. I'm not sure. Maybe you should
we'll take
look it up. I should know that. that. I'm not sure. It's just such a radically different shape to me that sometimes the weight gets lost in the feel. Like sometimes it'll feel heavier, but actually, be lighter. I'm not sure.
Right.
I want to say it's a little lighter.
Yep. Awesome. From there, I think I had one more question I wanted to bring up. I guess I kind of wanted to just find out from you, like where are you going from here? What's your focus? What's your game plan?
All right.
Is it contest? Is it? Because I know you're working on tricks. You're talking about speed. So it sounds like freestyle is a real focus. Some people just kind of focus on making up tricks. But it seems like freestyle is kind of contest has really always been your focus.
Yes,
but like I guess maybe even in terms of achievements, like what's next? What do you have your sights set on?
My main focus right now is Worlds, because I feel that this one in Prague is going to be something special, something different that we haven't seen as U.S. players in ever really. So I want to be a part of that first, Europe Worlds. So I've been putting in a lot of practice because I think that if there's any year that anyone can win, it's this one.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Worlds in Prague changes everything because, I mean, let's face it, we have been running Worlds in the USA for over 10 years, and it cuts out the number of players who can physically get there. And Europe has a huge scene, and I think, for the most part, a lot of the US players that are serious about it are going to make sure they're in Prague. And on top of it, I think it's easier to get there from Japan. I'm not positive, but I imagine the Asian contingency we're going to get over there is going to be pretty impressive. So,
I think so.
Europe, USA, and all of Asia, I mean, I think it's going to be amazing. Like you said, it's kind of anyone's game. I'm really excited to see how that goes. So Worlds, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's the main one. A lot of people ask, after you win nationals once, do you want to win again? It's kind of one of those things like, it's on your bucket list, you just cross it off.
Okay.
But I do want to win Nats again.
Nice.
That would be great, just to have 2 under my belt and to have a seed to Worlds, not have to do prelims ever again, because that's not my strength.
Nobody likes prelims.
But it's what I've been practicing for months now.
Yep.
is making a world level prelim because I'm more into the whole 3-minute feel. I like that entire presentation, and
Awesome.
crunching my stuff into 1 minute has been so difficult for me. But I've been working on it a lot. I think I'm right about there. So
nice. Yeah, I mean, actually, for you more than anyone, the 1 minute I imagine to be quite difficult because when we're talking about the style of play that you have always focused on, it's always very precise. And so with precise doesn't always come speed and just like knocking out tricks as fast as you can.
no.
Unfortunately, the 1A prelims can really kind of focus on, and players, are rewarded for that. So again, I'm looking at what you showed us tonight. I have no doubt, like, you got what it takes. I'm pretty stoked to see how that goes.
All right, thank you. I keep working on it for sure.
Nice. Well, I mean, I think we're just about ready to wrap it up. We got about 5 minutes until the Too H.O.T will be available. Had a lot of people asking how many we've got, and I think we've got enough. We've got about 100 pieces for tonight. I think anyone who gets this in their hand is going to be just stoked. Like, this thing is awesome. So if you grab one, today, or if you're watching this video in the future and you can still pick one up, I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, and support this great player here, Harold Owens III. One last question, I guess, from here.
Right.
I guess, like, as yo-yo players, do you have any advice or, like, one big thing that you would tell people, like about yo-yoing or about freestyle or something you want to kind of...
Yeah. I briefly mentioned it at some point during this video, but it's really the philosophy I live by as a yo-yoer, and it's to take advice, even the bad ones, because they usually have at least a grain of truth in them. Some people are just going to be spiteful, just maybe because they I don't know, they aren't where they are in their yo-yo career, perhaps, but never be just content with your style as it is at the moment, because you can always get better. You could always learn a different trick and improve on what you have. So the moment that you're just, I mean, at least in a competitive sense, the moment you're just content with what you have is the moment you stop progressing, really. So you have to always be brushing up on new tricks, watching videos of people who are at the top already, and just see what they did and see what you don't do, and just try to incorporate some. But that's my main advice.
Honestly, that's it's great advice for yo-yoing, and it's great advice for life. You know, I mean, I think it really is. Like, it says a lot about just how to approach a lot of things in life. So, very, very well said.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, thanks again for joining us.
No problem.
I think this was great. I think we'll definitely plan on doing more of these in the future. And really excited for the Too H.O.T. So.
Yeah, so am I. I'm excited to see what other people think. You know, it still brings a little tear to my eye when I see people, you know, either playing or talking about the original H.O.T. I'm like, it just baffles me that anyone but me would like it. You know, like not that it's anything less than what I wanted it to be, but it's always a new feeling to me. No matter how many times someone tells me that it's great or I have to or something, you know, it's fun. So I hope you guys like the new one. I love it. Check it out. It's the prototype. We'll have more colors coming soon for sure.
All right. Thanks so much, Harold.
No problem, man.
Everyone out there on YouTube joining us. And that's it for tonight. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks, Harold.
No problem. Night.
Night.